big shout out to those who subscribed and commented on the last AIU video. You're why this video exists. You enjoyed that one. I want to give you guys what you want. So, you don't get bored or stale or anything else like that. This time, Mr. Tracy is covering in a rally that took place in Ohio that I didn't have a commentary channel at the time, so I couldn't really speak on. And that's what some of these videos, I'm going to sporadically put these types of videos in the catalog because, like I said, you guys like them, as well as he does cover a lot of things that I missed. I ended up missing or aren't on the channel. So with that being said, we are going to let her rip.
Headline: 9 people showed up for a KKK rally in Dayton, Ohio. They were drowned out by 600 protesters. You see, when I see a headline like that, I'm led to believe the following.
USA. I'm just saying. This is once there was back in the 1920s, 1930s, that number was flipped around. There was 600 KKK and 9 people showing up to get lynched and murdered. So it really does show how far as the nation, the United States, has come when it comes to at least outward race relations.
Maybe you shouldn't have protested this at all, because had you not protested this, there would never have been a headline, 9 people showed up at a KKK rally in Dayton, Ohio. The only reason the group known as the KKK, their hateful ideology, and everything they stand for is on display is because you chose to show up and drown them out and turn this into a scene.
He's 100% correct. I mean, it's just like with the LeVar Ball, Molly Curran thing, right? She's the one that decided, oh my goodness, she took it sexually. And it's no different when it comes to those who who look to rile up crowds. It's the crowd that is the problem because they decided to get all emotional and get all riled up about it. I mean, and when it comes to the KKK, I mean, let's be real, they've been a punchline in our culture, in pop culture for a very long time. I mean, he himself, Mr. Tracy, Atheism is unstoppable. He had that little Cartman with the Klan hood on. Yeah, South Park, they've ripped the Klan to shreds. All right, let's go a little further into this, and I'm gonna tell you guys about one of my favorite episodes of the show.
Need to be. You could have ignored it. Having said that, I do want to see footage. Oh yeah. Who were these 9 people? What did the counter-protest look like? Were they all upstanding citizens? Were there fine people on both sides? All very legitimate questions. I've got the footage. Let's go through it. Begin.
I want to take this moment to say he does have an amazing ear for music. Like, I like this intro that he does here, but during a lot of his videos, there's music. There's music in the beginning. There's music at the end that, I assume he picks. And he's definitely had some knockers, had some bangers out there. There's this one song from this chick named Sigrid or Ingrid called Raw. I was like, oh, this is dope. So, kudos to the man for having good taste in music.
So the police didn't take any chances. They had, 50 cops there on horseback. They had barricades up. The protesters were nowhere near the rally. And the whole thing was utterly pointless. Aside from what it says psychologically about the opponents to this, because not only are the KKK an embarrassment and...
Real quick, because he gonna point my man out anyway. You see that brother right there just talking to the cops smiling, laughing, joking, what have you. This is not something that is, uncommon. Because at the end of the day, we're all people. And the recognition of each other's humanity is one of the things that really ties us together as particularly Americans,
have been rightfully demonized by every sector. They hold no power. And they are not even close to holding power. So if it's just a philosophical statement, we're against their racism and hatred, it's like, yeah, okay, that's obvious. This is something that doesn't even need to be expressed. And the danger of coming out here and freaking out every time the KKK is mentioned, why are they even being talked about? What is the point of that? Spike...
So before he gets into this movie clip, he's right. I mean, he's 130% right. Like I said, they've been a joke for the longest. And when it comes to race relations, I want to get into that South Park episode that I spoke of. They did this episode where Chef, who was voiced by Isaac Hayes at the time, had a problem with the town flag. And the town flag was a bunch of white people lynching a black person. It is all stick figures, but if that was the literal flag, and Chef was freaking out, and he had every right to freak out. But when they sat there and talked to the kids about it, they was just like, yeah, we just see people hanging. But I'm saying, though, is that he's like, oh, well, at the end of the episode, how they came to their resolution was that he was like, look, I mean, they don't mean anything by it. It's tradition. It is something that, that they came up with. Unfortunately, and we may not like it now, but it is what it is. We may not like our history, but our history is what our history is. It gets us to these points. It gets us to where you have 600 people protesting 9 people. Come on, man. I mean, and then you got people like Tim Pool out here like, oh my goodness, is there a civil war about to break out? It's like, calm down, my G. Like, as much as you like, it is, interesting to sensationalize and, make it seem as if everything is just gonna, like, the world's about to collapse at any moment. I like to draw from Nick Fury in the first Avengers when he said, until the world it ceases to spin, we're gonna act as if it continues to spin on, as if it will continue to spin on. So, yeah, I mean, come on, guys, take it easy.
He does a movie, Black Klansman, and half of that movie is dedicated to giving a platform to a fictional version of David Duke, this white supremacist from the 70s.
So, yeah, I'm 100% on board with this because when it comes to our media, what did I just say about the sensationalization, right? I mean, and you got people. And trust me, I got them in my family who will sit here and act as if, Spike Lee's movie is historical fact. Like, wait, did you see Black Klansman? I know it was written by somebody. Like, it really is my problem and issue with the Bible. And whereas I'm not I'm not an atheist by any stretch of the imagination, right? But I also understand where atheists come from because it is hard. These things are hard to believe. Now, due to events that have taken place in my life, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that there's somebody out there looking out for me. The spaghetti man in the sky is real for me. But, the Bible itself, the Quran, the Book of Mormon, all of these different ancient words of God were ultimately written by human hands, and that's where the skepticism that's where skepticism bores from. So here we are all these generations and decades later, and they're really doing nothing but telling the same stories over and over again. It's kind of like, it is what it is.
You black spear chucker piece of shit, nigger!
Yo, Kylo, bring that type of energy to Star Wars. Like, yo, bro, you was really into that, man. Like, yo, you got something to tell us, Kylo Ren? I'm joking. I'm sure Adam Driver's a nice guy. He's an actor, but that's the thing. He's an actor. When people sit there, I'm like, oh my goodness, yes. Did you see these movies? Like, what is that? The Central Park 5 one, When They See Us, right? It's like Ava DuVernay is a sensationalist beyond compare, and she comes from Oprah and her Oprah tree. I think I talked about that in a previous video. And so, yeah, like I can't. I know you can make it kind of look whatever way you want to make it look.
Still want me to take your Jew detector test?
So he just makes up racist dialogue, puts it in his movie, which is then broadcast to millions of people, just to inflame them, upset them, and get under their skin. And for what? What is the point? To announce again? Thanks, Spike Lee, for the tip that the KKK is bad. But it just seems like a massive strategy error.
For the record, Black Lives Matter is complete bunk. Where's Darren Seals? Black Lives Matter. I mean, we know where he is. I'm just saying how he get there. I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with correcting any of the ills that have befallen Black America, you know? And like I said before, I'm not a fan of using this terminology, but it's the terminology that I grew up with. It's the terminology that's been indoctrinated and marinated into our culture for generations now. So it's kind of hard to step out of that. But, you know, when it comes to descendants and everything else like that, that's the blood in my vein. Is the blood that everyone's sitting there crying over, and it's like, wait, my G, that's not your family's history. That's not your history. Like, what? Like, speak to your history. Like, we have all these stories of immigrants coming here and making great for themselves. And you know what? I love it. I love it. First people, legal and illegal, to give me work were immigrants. So trust me, I ain't even mad. But the deal is just that the story but that story is not the story of the descendants, you know. And that's in over but since the the Immigration Act of '65. I mean, how long has it been? Come on, guys.
So this guy with the free hug shirt, he was out and about. He was doing just a spreading random acts of kindness type thing. And he posted a video. He had some interesting encounters with cops, like very friendly. And it shows you that it is possible for a Black man to respect the police. It's just very jarring to see it.
Okay, so this is really where I'm going to have to say you're full of shit, Mr. Tracy. All right? There are Black cops. What are you talking about, bruh? I mean, just in the statistical category of which we speak, you know, the government statistical category of which you identify yourself the representation of, I'm going to represent the Black side and say that's the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay? Like, it really is. Because, the cops Black people can't respect cops. Do me a favor. Check out my other channel. It's called The Official Elected Official. I have videos up that date back about 3-4 years. And I've done videos with cops where we've talked about the community, where we've talked about, Tamir Rice. I have a Black cop saying that the Tamir Rice shooting was justified on film, Mr. Mr. Tracy. So to sit here and pretend as if, oh my goodness, Black people can get along with police. Oh, it's like, bruh, come on, dude. You're better than that. You're better than that.
But watch.
That's what we're for. Make sure that doesn't happen.
Cool. I was in Charlottesville when the car ran over the 19 people. I travel around to all of these things, and that was crazy. Just because.
You see that? People treating. I'm not seeing a Black dude, a white dude. I'm seeing two people having a conversation. You know, he's sitting here, talking to him. He's listening. They're going back and forth. The energy is good. The energy is positive, you know, and that is a good thing. I mean, I'm not a hugger myself. I don't like to hug, but I mean, I'll dap, but I'm really not too much into hugging for that full body thing. It's an intimate thing over here. But either ways, these gentlemen, they're just having a conversation, you know, and that's what it really is about. It's just having that civil, respectful conversation, both coming from a place of decent intent. And unfortunately, the people who are sitting there protesting and screaming, they're not there with good intent. Not I'm sure all of them are. I'm pretty sure a lot of their hearts are in the right place, but that's a battle that's already been won. You know, that battle got knocked out a long time ago. And one of the crazier parts about the Klan, right, is that they used to say they would have to wear hoods because when they were done, they would go back to being your doctors and teachers and all these other professions and stuff like that, which was 130% the truth. But, you know, the powers that be, even the powers above them, knew well enough how to navigate and really draw the lines, particularly here in America, as to where we're going to dump our poverty, where we're going to dump the poor people, where we're going to just completely let it deteriorate and go to crap and make sure that we can make a few dollars off their backs, you know. And that starts with the prisons, and it starts with a lot of the legislation and the policies, particularly the drug war, that really did screw over these communities, you know. And as long as people are sitting there screaming about reparations and sitting there screaming about slavery, like, dude, you don't need the slavery or anything else like that. There's plenty to talk about and have a legitimate gripe with that's taken place over since 65, since that Immigration Act. I mean, really. I did another video where immigrants don't like their children once they get here. Like, oh no, yeah, your family, once you get to America, your family traditions are kind of just gone because the next generation becomes Americanized. And, you know, I love my country. I do. I fought for my country. I will always, no matter how long I live, it'll be the country that I represent because just simply of how and who I am. But we have flaws. And what this type of stuff does is really offer nothing but distraction.
Yeah, I mean, it happened in an area where no one really expected it would happen, and so there wasn't really much of a police presence there. But so it's great to see you guys out here.
Well, unfortunately, things like that have to happen, and then we know how to plan for them.
True. Yeah, because the following week we were in Boston, and they said it was going to be that same group having a part 2 of that rally, and there was probably like 10, 20,000 people from the community that surrounded them, but law enforcement's response to it in Boston was great. But people know Boston PD don't play around anyway. You know, they would jack you up. So I think people knew, just don't come over there starting trouble.
And that's all we're here for.
Yeah.
Just make sure, we're not kicking anybody out.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
You know, I do find interesting, the KKK is not just against blacks, they're against everybody. But they're not saying brown lives matter, they're not saying immigrant lives matter. How about Jewish lives? The KKK aren't big fans of the Jews. If they started a chant of Jewish lives matter, do you think that crowd would be cool with that? You think that crowd is cool with
They really should be.
Israel? I don't think so.
But why not?
Again, we're not hearing that, and that is of particular interest to me, because apparently lives mattering has been trademarked, and the only lives that matter are black lives. And if you were to
But that's bullshit, and we all know it, right? Thank you.
suggest that any other lives matter, that's an insult to the number one, to the big dog on campus, the blacks. They're the lives that matter.
Well, I think that's about where we'll take this one down at, because this is about this is a 27-minute video that he has up. I know I've already run my mouth more than long enough. And this isn't even 5 minutes of that video. Yeah, so really, when it comes to these people, they're just useful idiots. You know, I mean, they are just there under this idea that, you know, they're doing good for the world. And when it comes to Black Lives Matter, like I said earlier, it ain't hard to tell that it's a bunk organization. I've done videos on, you know, what they've been up to. It's in my catalog. They were destined for failure because of things I won't even bother to bring up in this here video. But with that being said, I'm dead in this one. All the internet stuff. Like it if you liked it. Sub. Or dislike it because, hey, I'm not scared. Sub because of my fantastic voice. Share because sharing is caring. And let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe that this, because I can't help but there's a video that Tim Pool dropped that is like, oh my goodness, are we getting closer to Civil War? Bruh, I'm telling you, the way our police are, it just can't pop off like that. I really think the police can quash any kind of because they already have been taking care of riots. And if anything gets beyond what a local can take care of, then there's the state. And if anything gets beyond, then there's the feds. I mean, it is we're not going to be having too many more Wacos, you know? But there's always people planning and there's things going on right now that we're unaware of. So, I mean, who knows? But that Tim Pool video just really makes me feel as if maybe we should all calm it down a little bit, relax, you know. I mean, because they're strengthening their numbers, but alone they're quiet, they're useless. You can let people just scream into the ether. It's fine, you know. But until the next one.